Everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So I actually wanted to talk about something here that I think is something that we all should really focus on, and that is, what is AMC doing with The Walking Dead going forward here? And I actually saw an article here from Hollywood Reporter. Well, actually, it was a post from @Khary Payton, and so I actually want to talk about this because he also kind of put in the hashtags here, like hashtag The Walking Dead new era. And so I want to actually talk about this and something that I think they really could do here going forward, because I think The Walking Dead's in a really crazy place right now that like something crazy is going to happen in the next year, that I want to put out as much content as I can in terms of, just saying like, maybe this could be a cool idea, or maybe this, just to sort of get a general feel from everyone. Like, would you like this? Like, what should they do next? Like, what would be your 5-year plan? Let me know in the comments, but yeah, let's just get into this here. So before we go any further, make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all of my Walking Dead content like this. Now, I saw this post here from @Khary Payton. He made this post like a year ago already, but I was just kind of looking at stuff here, and this article is really interesting, and it says, top 4 new era characters: Jerry, Mercer, Ezekiel, and Connie. And so the post says here from Hollywood Reporter, after Glenn's death, The Walking Dead hit a wall for a time. What with a prolonged war against Negan spanning 2 entire seasons, even in the midst of that, some tremendous new characters arrived on the scene, such as Khary Payton's King Ezekiel, as well as his wingman, Jerry Cooper Andrews. Electric and expressive characters with dramatic and comedic chops to spare. When Angela Kang stepped in as the new showrunner, she brought some other notables into the mix, with no one better than Lauren Ridloff's Connie, the one true love of Daryl Dixon, and we will not hear any arguments otherwise. Well, this has been, it's been a while since this was written, so I don't know if that's the case anymore, but finally, there's the last season of the show worth considering, in which one of comic book artist Adler's most notable rendered figures comes to stunning life via Michael James Shaw. And then it just kind of goes on from there, but just looking at this here, again, I don't know exactly what this has to do with, the article or anything like this, or if it was just like, I guess highlights of these characters here, but Khary Payton here, he just kind of said like, hey, would you look at that? Thank you, Hollywood Reporter. And then did hashtag The Walking Dead, hashtag The Walking Dead, and then I guess hashtag The Walking Dead new era, ? And so that got me thinking, like, I wonder if this is a possibility. Could we see these characters return here in a new series? Say it's like a 3 or 4 season thing, maybe it goes longer, but like, they would be back at the Commonwealth. I think, yes, this would definitely work. I think you could focus on characters, at Alexandria. The Hilltop, I feel like, is gone at this point. But what it seems like what a lot of people want right now is a Walking Dead season 12. I think that is what's missing right now, honestly, when I'm really looking at all the spin-off shows. Like, they're going to New York, they're going to France and Spain and all these really incredible places, and the budget is so high, but it's like, it's not the same feeling as it had, a couple of years ago. And so it's like, why not just go back to what worked? And that is what worked. And it's because people like those locations, because it's comic book accurate, though that's one element to it. And it's just something that we know. And like, maybe there was an attack on the Commonwealth from another group, right? Like, we never got to really explore that. Like, really, when you look at them going back to the Commonwealth, a lot of it was just them trying to adapt to being there, and the leader there was just horrible. So that's the same thing as them going to really a lot of places, right? Like, when they first got to the farm, it was the same thing. Herschel disagreed, this and that. They never ended up killing Herschel, but like, there's all these disagreements before they stayed there, and then they all had to sort of leave, and then, but they were all a team afterwards. And Alexandria, it was the same thing. Like, a lot of places have always dealt with that, right? So the Commonwealth, it was like the introduction to like getting into this community. Now they're living there, but we haven't really seen a lot of them just living there, right? So that would be a really interesting place to go here. Like, I feel like maybe this is what AMC wants to do, because Daryl Dixon season 4 is the last season. Dead City season 3 has not been confirmed as the last season yet. So is it going to get a season 4? And I wonder when they're going to confirm that. Are they going to wait a really long time? What if it just kept going for like season 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever? I know that the show isn't as good, I guess, as The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, but like season 3, they could totally change things. They have a new showrunner. So what if there is going to be something here that changes everything? And having like this Walking Dead next era show I think might work really well. Like, honestly, I think if you were going to have any shows on here, this is what you have to do. This is exactly what I would like going forward here. And that is, I would love to see Rick and Daryl and maybe a couple of other characters reunite in a different spinoff, right? And then you have The Walking Dead Dead City. That can continue for however long. And then you have The Walking Dead, I guess like New Era or whatever you would call it. And it would be all the characters older, maybe by like 5 or 10 years or something like that. What are things like now? Where are people living? It's been a while since, people have talked. Maybe like, Mercer's not necessarily the enforcer anymore, right? Ezekiel, he was elected the leader, but like, after a couple of years, is he not the leader anymore? You can start a lot of issues there. You could have Judith be a big part of that story there. And then that's where you can get like Morgan to appear, right? Like imagine if Morgan was actually on that show and he was leading The Walking Dead, the next era, basically. It would be Morgan with Judith. It would be so perfect, right? And then you could do the whole thing with Rick and Daryl and their spinoff. Like that could just be one season or maybe that's longer. But like, I feel like there's a direction to go in here. And I think what they need to do next is focus more on the past and like making things more like The Walking Dead season 12. Like they've went away from that. They're doing the character stuff great now, I would say, but they're sort of losing focus of what also made The Walking Dead work, right? Like when you look at the last 10 years, it's like, they really lost focus of the characters for a while. It was like this whole cast and they just kept giving so much screen time to all these characters that you lost a lot of their personalities. So it was like, well, what's going on, right? And then Angela Kang took over and then like she actually handled it really well. And what I mean by that is she focused more on the core characters again. So side characters like Ezekiel, etc., like they would get less screen time. But I think, at that point, it just made sense. Like you want to focus on the core characters, but there were 16 episodes, right? And also she introduced the threats in really exciting ways. The villains were awesome, just super exciting. And the pacing of the story was so perfect. Like it was just amazing. She fixed it all. Like things were faster, but it wasn't like that much faster. When a character had to go to like this community, like we would see them go there and sometimes in that episode they would get there, but not necessarily. It might take like the next episode, right? So it was fast in that way. Whereas before it might have taken a couple of episodes for them to get there, right? Or half a season for this character to get there. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but like you get what I mean, right? Now with the spinoffs though, it's not only that they're like traveling to a location, they're traveling to multiple locations and back and everywhere in one episode. It's gotten so insane. I'm not a fan of it. And you saw that a little bit, in season 11, but I don't blame that on Angela Kang. I think, what she did there was incredible, but AMC just wanted to end the show there. And they had to rush all of that story that they wrote, for a lot of the stuff that originally was supposed to be season 11. And I'm assuming that the Commonwealth was going to be a big part of season 12, but not season 11. So I think that, yeah, there's definitely, a way to make this work here. Now, if I were actually to pick a showrunner, I guess to be a part of this, it would have to be Angela Kang, in my opinion. I think that she's honestly the best for The Walking Dead. I do like Scott Gimple as a showrunner. It's just my issue with him being the showrunner is more the writing and the dialogue. That really is it. The writing and the dialogue with a lot of the shows that he runs, it always just ends up being a little bit too dramatic. Like it's just a little bit too much where it's just like, this is not real life, right? And I think that early on, that just wasn't a thing, but that really became a thing. Like really in season 6, honestly, maybe in season 5, but season 4, it was not like that. So I don't know what happened, but it became all about that, especially in season 8 with the whole, like, my mercy prevails over my wrath. Like it was just happening so much where, I was starting to think like, would Rick Grimes ever say something like that? Like, no, he's so down to earth. Like he would never say anything like that. So it's just, things got really crazy for a while, but Angela Kang, I think, she handled it pretty well. Daryl was talking again, like, so I would love to see this. I would really love to see this, a Walking Dead New Era television show focused at the Commonwealth and just all of those places there. Go back there. You don't have to go back to Alexandria. You don't have to do any of that, but just something at the Commonwealth and another story there. It doesn't have to be like the Commonwealth is in trouble right away or something. It could be another group out there or whatever, but I think something here that feels like The Walking Dead, where characters have to go out there and survive, starting there with all of them, I think would actually work so well, because I think a lot of the newer characters that they're introducing, they're really great characters, honestly, but they keep killing them off, like Okafor, Isabel. There was a character in Dead City recently that was really great, and also season 3 of Daryl Dixon. And, you know, like, they're going to keep killing off these characters because they're just spin-off characters. But if they actually had a main show, and that's what they're missing right now, is a main show. I think that they should actually make a Walking Dead new era television show. And I don't know how that would work with Rick, Daryl, and everyone else being out there and all of that story like going on there, but maybe it does work. Like having all of that there. And that's the thing too, is like Dead City could maybe become this show in some sense, or maybe that show ends, but those two characters go to that show and that'll be it for the most part, right? Like there's a way, honestly, to do this all where like, why doesn't he have it where some things that happen in like this season of this show might affect what's happening like in this season, right? Like there's going to be some sort of overlap, like this will happen here. And so like, oh, this might mean something for this season. Maybe Herschel's going to be gone because he's going to be on like the New Era show or something for a little bit. And you know what I mean? Like, why can't there be more connections like that? Everything is just it's its own thing. And do we even know each other at all? Probably not, right? Like, that's kind of what it seems like. Like, I swear Maggie has forgotten who Rick is. Like, it's kind of insane, you know? So this is what I want. And Khary Payton tweeting this, I know this was last year. I know, but this was after The Walking Dead was done. Like, this was a year and a half after The Walking Dead was done. Like, this was actually done after The Ones Who Live finished airing. So I would love this. I would honestly love this here, especially if it was them four leading the show, right? Like Jerry, Mercer, Ezekiel, and Connie. I think that, first of all, 4 very, very strong characters that everyone loves. Everyone would love to see those characters again. You know, would you want all of these spinoffs with all these characters everywhere, like literally everywhere, and like this show? Or would you like them to do a Walking Dead season 12? Like everyone is back there. Daryl, Carol, Maggie, Negan, Rick, Michonne, Morgan, you know, Dwight maybe goes back. And there's just drama in general there, and you do a story there. And maybe Rick dies at some point or whatever, but they just do a proper story here where characters are killed off or whatever, and there's not all of these other spin-offs everywhere. And then maybe if you want to do a spin-off on like original characters. Like that's the way to go here. Everyone would love that. It's just you got to get everyone on board to do that, but that's more of a scheduling thing, and I'm sure, you know, that's a common thing in television. You just got to go work that out, right? So overall, I just wanted to say, some thoughts on this because I saw this here and I was like, you know what? I wanted to talk about this because I do think that this is where The Walking Dead needs to go next. Like, they're just not focusing on the things that they need to focus on right now. And it's getting frustrating, in my opinion. Like, I love these spinoffs. I really do. It's so amazing that we have Daryl and Carol in Europe. Like, that's incredible. I never would have thought, like, watching this show however many years ago that would ever happen. And it's amazing. And when they come back and that story's over, I just hope something else is going to be done where it's really amazing. And then you can go back to that spinoff and be like, wow, that was a really cool, just like random spinoff that they did, right? Like Dead City just hasn't quite been that yet, but season 3 has actually looked really good. And I won't say anything, but I've seen some behind the scenes stuff. It looks so good. So I'm actually really excited about that. Just in terms of, well, I won't say anything anymore than that, but I'm actually excited, I think, for Dead City season 3. There's some story stuff though that I'm kind of curious about, just stuff with New Babylon, and are they going to be a thing anymore? Or is this going to be a complete rewrite of the script and everything? We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.